Alright, so just got finished doing the frets. They're all polished. If you're seeing that line, just watch the line move with the reflection. They are as smooth as glass. And as you can see, there's no chip out underneath the nut. The fretboard is really fucking dry, and it looks like I'm going to end up putting a little bit more Dunlop oil on there. It sucked it up quite a bit. Now the headstock, as you can see, hell, you can even see the texture from the fluorescent light cover around the edges. Now this thing was pretty nasty. The binding as well, it was really fucking dirty. Now it's all clean. Now, polishing a finish. It can be done by hand without using any type of electric or mechanical buffer. Now there was some light scratches in this headstock. 1500 grit wet took care of it. I block sanded it. Was not worried about the washer rings for the tuners. I wasn't going to try sanding those out. Then I used 2000 grit sandpaper, and then I used 3000 grit sandpaper. After that, hand rubbed. That's it. Here are the rags I use for oiling and cleaning the neck, and here are the rags I use for using the rubbing compounds to polish out the headstock. So yeah, she's pretty much ready to have the tuners installed. I gotta clean those up because they're pretty nasty as well. But yeah, it can be done. You do not have to use a buffer to get a mirror gloss finish on any surface. There is no buffer here, besides a pack of cigarettes, on my counter. There's no buffer around the floor anywhere, just a bag of sandpaper. Nothing. I'm hoping the body comes out just as nice as this headstock is. As you can see in the beginning of this video, I have a new fan, and fans are always welcome. So welcome, new fan, and we will call him Mr. Butt. So I gave Mr. Butt a little bit of love.
Too far!
Somewhere there was a joke in there.
Thanks for the advice.
Alright, so this part of so-called restoration, or whatever you want to call it, is done. Fretboard is clean, oiled, and frets have been leveled, crowned, polished. The headstock has been polished and sanded by hand, polished by hand, and tuners have been installed, cleaned and installed. So that's it. So the next part is basically the body now, fun part. So let's get on to it. Alright, so here is the body. Got a few scratches here and there that I could possibly sand out. Maybe not all of them. Some of them look a little bit deep. A couple of chips here that I need to repair. Not a big deal. This has a arched body on it, so right around this area here it starts to arch up, and again, pretty filthy. So what I want to do is plug this thing in, check out the electronics, make sure that they're working, that there's no scratchy sound or anything coming from the pots or the switch, and tighten a few things up here and there. I have to open these holes up a little bit so they can have the new ferrules that I've bought and get those inside there. So I'm going to plug it in right now and see what the kind of noise she makes. So this is what I'm hearing. That's the first pickup. Both. and the bridge. No funky sounds, no goofy shit, and everything seems to be working properly. So I'm going to just lightly spray these guys and clean the switch a little bit to basically, lubricate volume controls and just clean this switch up just a little bit. And I kind of want to turn the switch so it's kind of going up and down a little bit, sitting a little bit too much on an angle. So inside here, let's see, I give it a little bit. It's pretty clean in here. I mean, it's not dirty. There's no wood chip particles or anything else. It seems to be pretty good. All right, so this switch can be turned. I'm sure it's probably loose too. Yeah, it is a little bit loose. Well, that's why I got my trusty tool. Alright, it's the first time I'll be using this. There you go. Screw that on there. Loosen it up. See what we got here going on. This puppy a little bit of a turn. And then tighten her up. I don't have this thing tightened up too much on here. There you go. Nice little tool to have. Plug it back in, make sure nothing is touching. Everything's still working properly. Everything's good. Everything's still working properly. Gotta love it, right? Great tool. Picked this up off of eBay. Basically for any of the three-way switches, possibly volume controls. You put this over it and snug them up. I think this is a little bit too big for tuners. It won't shrink down too much, but great tool to have. Wires seem to be okay, solder joints seem to be alright, everything looks pretty damn good as far as that goes. There is a ground wire, looks like it's going to where the bridge is. So I'm going to get a little bit of the deoxit. Let's see. Cleans and lubricates, improved contact. So I will use the I will use the F5. So I want to lubricate a little bit. Now on these things they have a low, medium, and high. So I want this on low because I don't want it to shoot a lot in there, just enough. Just enough. Turn this upside down. Give these puppies a little bit of a turn. Oh yeah, that's the spot right there. I don't think so.
Too far!
A little bit in the switch, not much. Get in here. Make sure everything's working properly. No noise. Good. Everything's working. No problems with that. Now let's try to start the cleaning process a little bit. Like I said, there are some scratches on here, and we'll get into that in a minute. Alright, so as you can see, this guitar does have quite a bit of scratches in the finish, and you know, there's some dirt and shit inside there. Now, there was a lot of pick scratches over here. Amazingly how they disappeared. And as you see, there's some marks and stuff over here that I haven't quite cleaned up yet on the body. Now, right here, I have a small cup with some water inside of it and some soap. It's warm water. And you can see I got some sandpaper sitting in there. Now, I'm using a 1500 grit, followed by a 2000 grit, followed by a 3000 grit. 3000 grit, I used a piece that's inside the cup. The soap acts as a lubricant, so the paper won't stick to the surface that you are sanding. Now, as you can see here, there isn't very much scratching at all inside this area over here. And you can see right here is where the sandpaper is still fogged a little bit. Now, this is only rubbed with 3M rubbing compound. This is the first stage, by hand. And if I zoom out over here, there is no buffer or anything over here besides a bag of sandpaper. And yeah, that's rubbed by hand, and that's the type of gloss I got. That's only stage one. It's only been done one time. I haven't gone over it again, and I do have to go over it another time with the sandpaper, the 2000 grit sandpaper, and then the 3000 grit sandpaper. I just want to show a little demonstration of, I got my fingerprints all over it. You can rub this shit out by hand. You don't need a buffer to do this. Now, the right way to do this would be to take everything off the body and, you know, start going to town with it. Now, I'm not using a lot of water on this body. The paper is wet, but I'm not leaving water all over the place on this thing when I'm doing this. So I'm not going to take apart anything. I just want to go over all the areas. Some of these areas where it has a little bit of minor scratching on it will come out with the rubbing compound by itself, but the deeper scratches won't, so those need some help with the sandpaper. So I'm not going to get into this anymore. You're just going to have to wait till the next video and watch how I do this. But so far, everything's falling into place the way I want it. And yeah, this thing will look like pretty much almost like a brand new guitar. I'm not too much into relic guitars, and if a guitar body, car body, gas tank body, whatever, has no rust or dents or chips or, you know, pretty bad shape, and the body is in good shape to do a, you know, a rough wet sanding and a buff job on it to get that shine back out, I'm going to do it, and this thing will look like a new guitar when I'm finished with it. As long as I can get it to come out like this and like the headstock, should be great. So stay tuned for our next video.